Welcome back for another book talk. Today we are talking about this one. So this is Fairest. This is Levana. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. The Queen from the Lunar Chronicles. Her story by Marissa Meyer. So Goodreads listed this as 3.5 in the series, as in you should read the first 3 books, read this one, then read Winter. I don't know that I agree with that. So I read the initial core 4 books. Then I read Stars Above, which was like the random like spin-off stories thing that I didn't love that one. Then we have this one. This I think should be read as the 5th book in the series. This should have been the full series and then this and then the little side thing. This was fantastic. I do feel like it does kind of have spoilers in a lot of ways for Winter with the things that happen in this book. So I don't know that like storyline wise it doesn't even make sense because it would be before the other books completely. And I just feel like it has more significance if you read it after Winter. And I didn't look, but I don't know if publication date wise this came out first or Winter came out first. I just think this should have been read after Winter. Because again, it has so many spoilers of like the emotions that go into Winter that get so flipped on their head if you don't know the backstory of why. That said, this is a fantastic book. I loved this so much more than the short story collection, and this is one that is easily right alongside the other like core books that are so good from this author. Basically, this goes over the life of the Queen before she becomes the Queen, how she becomes the Queen, and up until kind of where she really starts to turn evil, as we know, because she's going to be the villain. And so it's really fun to see. I had, once as per usual, these books, I can't always guess the plots. So there were parts of this book that I didn't see coming. And that is just so much fun when you have a book like that, where you don't know what's gonna happen. But like, it's such a fun ride. She writes so good. These are the books that like truly you just sit down and for me, I can just sit down and read this in one sitting and be perfectly content. Doesn't matter how big the book is, I just want to keep reading it. And so this was fantastic. It was interesting to see the Queen before her sister, and little glimpses into their parents and how they were raised, and what her intentions were as the Queen, and as she slowly started to take on that role. Like, it was so much fun to see how her initial intentions had adjusted into what we see in Cinder, of where she is like the evil queen and how we get to that point. So needless to say, definitely recommend this book. It was so much fun. 10 out of 10 recommend. Now onwards to the spoilers. So for spoilery stuff, the biggest thing is I did not see, but I guess I should have, that the relationship with the guard was not consensual. I did not see that coming. I really should have. I should have known, but I thought it was gonna be more like how the evil queen fell in love with the person they're not supposed to, and she was shamed for that, and then when he died, it was gonna be like that was the thing that turned her evil. Not that she used her power against him. I'm curious why she was never able to get pregnant. Like, what was the reason for that? Because as a queen, why wasn't she going for like fertility testing and figuring out why she can't get pregnant? They have the top doctors. So like why didn't she do that when she couldn't get pregnant? And like, I know she was young, but still, like, why had she not, especially when she actually took the crown, why was she not finding out why she couldn't get pregnant by him? And I know eventually they do like stop trying, but still, like, as a queen and even as the princess, like, why was she not finding that out? But I didn't see the relationship. Like, I was not planning on that not being a romance. I was like braced and ready for another romance of the century, but no. She just uses her power to manipulate and control him. And I thought how the author took out the wife of the situation was interesting, and that we find out that Sol was actually the one who like kind of cared about her and it wasn't the guard. And it was more the wife being like, you should be friends with her, she doesn't have any friends. And then no, she wanted him as like a husband and he didn't. I should have seen that coming. And yet I was hoping that she was gonna have like a good relationship with him. And that never happened. And like, even when he knew what she looked like, he still never changed his mind. And like, I don't know, he knew that she didn't look right, but why didn't he push the issue earlier? Like, there's just certain things that, like, it's not bad writing, it's just flawed characters that make your brain, like, think. And you're like, but why didn't you do this? And, like, truly, I don't get why, like, I don't know, why she was so obsessed with him and why she kept him around for so long. And, like, obviously when she takes him out, that kind of makes sense. Like, he's not in love with me, he's baggage, just get rid of him. And, like, I found it interesting that she decided to save Winter and not take her out too. But also, she's not able to get pregnant. Like, it's so weird. And why didn't she just have affairs like everyone else was? Like, that was also something, just so many questions from this book. Overall, I love this world. I wish she wrote more in this world. I know she has another series. I've heard it's not nearly as good, and that a lot of people were really disheartened because this was so fantastic. And then the next one was just like, oh. So I don't know if I'm gonna read those. Also, the only other, like, fairy tale sort of story that she's got is Heartless, and that is supposed to be kind of a standalone novel of the Queen of Hearts. And in one of the end of the books there was like a little blurb. It was definitely not as well written as these. It didn't capture me nearly as fast. These characters might have just been a fluke and were just so good that I don't know that she'll ever recapture that. I don't know how many books she's still writing at this point, to be honest. But this was so good. I definitely would recommend to read this if you are just watching the spoilers to watch spoilers. You need to go read this book. It was so good. I also love how we slowly get the build into how the Queen is. Like, how she wears the, like, veil as, like, part of when she was wailing over her husband's death that she caused. And how she decided to kill the princess. And, you know, how she hated her sister and that relationship. And how she was always, like, the butt end of the jokes. Like, for being a villain, she's such a good villain. Like, you just care about her. Even though she's terrible, even though she becomes worse as time goes on, you care about her and you're like, God, like, I just want to wrap you up in a blankie and be like, it's okay. Like, it'll be fine. But yeah, and it's, I don't know, like, in a different world, she could have been so not evil. Like, if she just had support from people who actually could care about her. It was one of those books where you're just like, but I care about the villain. Because obviously, like, she's still evil. She still does terrible things. But, like, she really had, like, the role of the Queen written in this book was so good. So anyways, those are my thoughts on this book. I would love to hear yours in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe. I post Monday through Friday right now, and Monday through Thursday is when I am talking about my writing that I'm doing, my current projects, just kind of like vlog style of what's going on in the life of a writer. And then on Fridays, I'm planning to have Fiction Fridays. So anyways, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications if that's your thing, so that you never miss an upload from me. And until next time, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all soon.